stay a while and listen.
GHN on VGF. Here we go again.
We're back.
Micah.
Yet again.
Here we are. We were talking before the show about this whole Dr. Disrespect thing that's going on right now.
Rather disrespectful.
This disrespectful. See, I'm curious to get your take on it, and this is why I wanted to kind of just jump into this recording on it. I don't know. I don't feel like there's any evidence to point literally anywhere on what's actually going on with this entire situation. But it's absolutely wild. I don't get into the whole streaming world. It really does nothing for me. I obviously know who he is, but one thing that's a little fascinating to me is yesterday morning I was doing the Digital Drop podcast. I do that with Andrew Wall and Andrew Perrin, and after the show, which we always, right after the show, we all have to get to work right away.
Right.
Because it's 8 a.m. in the morning.
Right.
So yesterday, we spent 45 minutes after the show. We weren't recording, just breaking down every little thing that had been happening with this.
Yeah.
Trying to connect the dots somewhere. Because if you remember, I'm sure you do. Did you see the video of his last stream?
No, I missed that.
Okay, essentially his last stream, it was really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It was just him kind of, you could tell something was up. He was, breathing a little heavier. Not himself.
Not his usual
and then
brash.
and then he was looking at his phone with stuff. I think he even tossed a couple profanities in there, which probably isn't rare for him. I don't know. I don't necessarily watch him.
Not rare.
But I know he said one thing. He's like, okay, we'll get through this. And then he just kind of ends the stream abruptly. And then right after that is when Twitch kind of just laid down the hammer and said, okay, you're done. We've got no official reason as to why he's done or what he did, if he did anything. Yeah. There are so many rumors out there that I don't even want to get into.
Oh, no, I don't either. I'm not. The internet can take things way too far, way too quickly. So let's leave the hypothesizing to other people.
Right, exactly. I 100% agree. And I don't even want to put that energy out there with some of the things. It's bad.
Bad stuff.
No, I mean, he's had a little bit of a history, I think.
For sure.
I think he's had a little bit of
a couple of years. He did some not so great stuff.
I think he was like live streaming when he went into a bathroom at some point.
Oh yeah, he went to a con somewhere or some kind of event and followed someone in the bathroom while recording into a bathroom. And it was supposed to be just ha ha ha, uncomfortable, funny joke kind of thing, but no one took it right. No one took it the way he thought they were gonna take it.
Right.
He thought everyone would be like, "Oh my God, this is so brash and hilarious," but it was actually just too far,
Yeah, and in the video, I actually had a detective, and I'm not kidding about this. I had a detective. Not going to give any names. I had a detective who has never heard of him, has never seen him or anything, just break down the body language of what they were witnessing. And he made some excellent points. He said, okay, so let's take the fact that on this last stream that he did, he said, we're going to be okay. Okay. And he also didn't end the stream, instantly. So a lot of the rumors like, oh, he was getting raided by the police and stuff like that. Well, nothing showed up on the police reports.
Right.
And this detective said if he was in fact being raided, he wouldn't have waited so long to actually log off.
No.
And some of the other accusations, which I can imagine you've heard as well, it doesn't add up that he says we will be okay, because if somebody gets caught doing what those things are rumored, and you're going to have to go and search that yourself. I don't even want to bring that up. But they were not going to say, oh, we're going to be okay.
Yeah.
So, man, it's such a mystery. Now he's talking about taking legal action against Twitch.
From what I understand, the best explanation that I've come across yet, or the explanation that I would like to believe, is that he signed an exclusivity deal with another streaming platform, and Twitch found out about it.
That was actually one of the rumors, and it was that he that he was recruiting other streamers over to this platform that either hasn't launched yet or is getting ready to.
Right.
And that would break Twitch's terms.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I would not blame them at all for just axing him. If that's the case, then he's just going to reappear whenever this new, different, streaming service shows up. He's just going to pop back up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hope that's the case. I don't wish ill on anybody.
I don't either, man.
But it's so mysterious, the fact that he's not saying anything. Nobody is saying anything. Twitch is not saying anything.
Yeah.
The only people that are actually saying things are the people who are, I guess, somewhat close to him. And they're saying, hey, we can't comment on this whatsoever.
Yeah.
Like, we're just not going to do that. But they're also saying that he's not going to be on any platform.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
The mystery deepens, man, and he's not even putting out speculation as to why. He's talking about taking legal action against Twitch.
Yeah, he did that Forbes article and essentially just said, I don't know why they did that. I just showed up to work one day and the door was locked, and I don't know why. So who knows at this point, you know?
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's again, I hope the best for everyone involved. I hope the rumors that are coming out are not true.
I hope he didn't do anything terrible. Full stop, you know?
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. What are you playing, by the way?
Lighter things. So recently I found on Game Pass that they had just added Nier Automata. I'm pretty sure I'm not butchering that. It could be Nier something else. I don't know. Anyway, it came out like in 2017. It's a Japanese kind of hack and slash, but the camera angle isn't fixed. So based on what scenario you're
what do you mean by not fixed?
So you know how there's platformers, like you run up a level and it's like 2D essentially, not 3D. It'll go from top down third person to like normal third person to 2D to like all these different weird, like it's just weird for me to be playing a game and to be hacking and slashing, and then all of a sudden I'm not looking behind my character anymore. I'm not seeing what she's seeing. I'm looking at her from the side, and I have to completely like switch my brain into, you know, controlling a character in a completely different direction. So it's very interesting. The story in the world is beautiful and deep and weird. It's very Japanese.
All right,
love it.
Go ahead and stick, because I've literally never heard of this.
Okay.
So go ahead and start. What is the story for this?
Okay, so story is we screwed up. The Earth is invaded by a race of robot aliens, creatures.
So it's a potential biopic, is what you're saying.
Essentially.
Okay.
And humanity tries to fight, fails miserably, flies off to the moon to create a little colony and try to, you know, survive. And because this is so far in the future, they ended up with the technology to be able to create androids and cyborgs. And so instead of the last little bit of humanity fighting, they create an army of androids and cyborgs to fight for planet Earth and retake it. As you go through the story, I'm only like 11% through the game. It's a very, very, very big game. I played the game for like 5 or 6 hours and only got 11% through.
Jesus.
So it's thick. But
so this is free?
yeah. Oh, it's on Game Pass, so you gotta pay for Game Pass.
Right, you gotta pay for Game Pass.
Sort of free.
Right.
Free, but with extra steps.
Right. So would you actually buy this?
If I could go back to 2017, I probably would have. If I had known what it was, like known more about it, I would have, absolutely.
Right. So I first of all, the storyline, if aliens are going to invade, I think it's going to be robots.
Yeah.
I think that's because we have to think about where we are right now as a society, where humanity is right now, is we are sending right now robots to other planets. We are sending robots to Mars and stuff like that. I'd have to think that a civilization that's far out there in the cosmos, and this, I don't even know if I'm talking about video games anymore, but that's that far out there in the cosmos that they're going to be that much more technologically advanced than we are. They're going to send robots. They're not coming themselves. There's no need for that.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, we as humans want to go places, you know?
Yeah.
We have that natural desire to explore ourselves, to see things with our own eyes and to do it ourselves, even if it is at the cost of our own life. Like looking through history, all these major explorations that have been done, a lot of people died on them.
A lot.
Lewis and Clark going to the West Coast for the first time for, you know, white people.
White people stuff.
A lot of people died during that because, I mean, they weren't really prepared for it. But it's crazy, man. The men and women that scouted out the North and South Pole, crazy people. Crazy people. Let's just bundle ourselves up as much as possible and try to survive the harshest environment on Earth for months and years at a time just to be able to come back and say, hey, we found some ice, you know?
Yeah, Antarctica is an interesting place, man.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot about Antarctica that we don't know about.
There's probably a lot of stuff under the ice that we've never seen. Lord knows, man.
Now we're getting into some good conspiracy theories. I've seen the episodes of Ancient Aliens. They've done 2 on Antarctica.
Oh, yeah.
I don't believe it for a second.
I mean,
but
I
hope so. But I just want something interesting and cool to happen because 2020 has just been such shit.
Yeah.
Like give me some hidden pyramid under Antarctica.
give me something crazy.
Right,
something
exactly.
that makes me not care about everything else, you know?
Right, exactly. But at the same time, knowing what's happening here in 2020, it's just the melting of the ice is just going to release some virus from 10,000 years ago that wiped out civilizations that once lived on Antarctica.
Yeah.
And here we are. They're like, okay, the only cure for this, you guys got to wear a mask. No, we can't do that.
It. How dare you?
No, we can't do
infringing upon my freedoms.
Let this Antarctic virus take us all.
Let me die.
Freedom. God. Well, there go half our listeners.
Alright, yes.
Right. They weren't getting anything out of us anyway. You had a really good question on Twitter.
Yeah.
The other day, and I like it. I love the nostalgia factor. I love that. I love that you bring nostalgia into that. Yes, you just mentioning childhood and video games in the same sentence is just it's just eroticism for the mind.
Yeah.
So
and it's my favorite thing about the tweet was just the variety of responses I got. Because in my head, I'm 25. I was thinking with my brain, thinking about the games that I played growing up, thinking about the Atari and the GameCube and the N64 and all those like PlayStation 1, original Xbox, all those things. I didn't think about all the people that are 17, 18, 19 years old now that grew up with Halo 2, Halo 3.
Yeah.
Call of Duty Black Ops 2 instead of Modern Warfare. So it's different, but also the same. It's interesting.
Yeah, that's been one of my favorite things about doing this account is you get the perspective of multiple generations by talking to them and seeing what games are popular in what generation, what newer generations think about previous generation games and vice versa.
Yeah.
It kind of all really ties together, and it's really cool to see, and it really opens your eyes a little bit.
Well, I mean, you're only a couple of years older than me, but we have very similar like experiences with what we've played. For the most part, there's some that I played that you haven't played, but I've also been
played so much more.
I've been playing a lot for a long time,
Right. Okay, let me see if I can pull this up here. Hang on. Oh God. You ever get on Twitter and you see something that's trending?
I try to stay away from trending. I really try.
Jesus. Like, okay.
Lord help me.
GamerGirl Condoms is trending. I don't know. Every fiber of my being, Micah, is telling me, do not click on this.
Don't click it.
Nothing good is going to come from clicking on this. What are we doing today,
Twitter? That was
Twitter?
a very poor choice of words you got there, buddy.
Did I? I didn't. Yeah. I don't even realize what I said at this point.
Said nothing good is going to come from
nothing. Well, you know what? Oh, God, Ross. All right, hang on.
All right.
Like I have to know what's going on here now. Like why is GamerGirl Condoms trending? I gotta Google this. Hang on. Look, the search comes right up on Google.
Here comes a
This
rabbit
is shocking.
hole.
Yeah, this is gonna be a rabbit hole. All right, okay, I pulled it up here. Gamer Gold Condoms. Well, of course, I put in the wrong thing. God, somebody's going to get a hold of my search history and just choke.
Be very confused.
Oh, God. It's this Belle Daphne person.
Oh.
Let's
just move on.
No, I got to see this. I'm already in.
Going too far.
Oh, God. Okay. She's actually selling GamerGirl Condoms for $10 each, Micah. And she's sold out within hours. What? Why? And the motto is "Rise Up, Gamers." Why? Why is this a thing? Why did she sell out of this?
She is a meme at this point, and she is just profiting off of it. And what can you do?
God bless, man. This is. You know what? More power to her. If you can write "GamerGirl" on a condom and sell out, you know what? Do it.
Find your niche.
I don't even care.
Find your niche and milk it for all it's worth, man.
Find your niche. Yeah, and the niche is selling condoms.
Apparently.
To gamers. Who's pitching this idea? Who says, "Hey, Belle, I've got a great capitalist idea here. You're going to sell condoms that say GamerGirl on them, and people are going to buy them. She's going, okay, who's my target audience? Male gamers.
Straight up.
There is nothing in that sentence that makes sense whatsoever, and she did the impossible. She sold out of them.
Give it 40 years, they'll be a collectible item.
Oh, God. How long are those things actually good for? I think it's like
Not
7
that
years.
long,
I think it's like
long.
7 years in your wallet or something like that.
I don't even
What
think
did
it's
she
that
find
long.
the secret ingredient to? Oh God, no. Okay, I'm out on this one. I'm out, man. Okay.
Run like the wind, bullseye.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get to your question actually here. And your question was, by the way, killer new profile pic.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
What game from your childhood have you revisited that has stood the test of time and feels just as good as when it did when you were younger? Do you have an answer to that? What's your answer to that?
Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Easily. Knights of the Old Republic is the like go-to always. I mean, I can go back and play Halo, like the Halo Combat Evolved. I played it through the Master Chief Collection recently, and it's still awesome. It's still like, it's different than what we have now, what we're used to now. But if you can kind of snap your brain back into forgetting all of this modern stuff, you're like, this is fun. It's a cool story. It looks terrible, but it's fun.
Yeah. That's fair. And this is going to bring up a wider discussion that I actually want to talk with you at some point about. I don't know what my game would be. This, I always go back to the same one, and that's Ocarina of Time. So I think that's probably like where I'm going to go. How much was like half of your answers
30,
Ocarina of Time?
30 people out of the 200 and something responses were Ocarina.
Yes, that's not surprising at all.
I'm not even mad. There was a myriad of interesting ones that I'd never even heard of, but there was even a few that I played as a kid that I completely forgot about, like Star Fox Adventures. Star Fox Adventures
was a good one.
It was wild for the time. Like N64 playing that was N64?
They had Star Fox 64, but they also had a Star Fox for Super Nintendo. I think they've had one for just about every console. I'm not sure if GameCube or Wii got one.
No, I think I remember playing Adventures on GameCube.
Right.
Yeah.
I love this. I love seeing the sports guys come in here. Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball for SNES. Absolutely. What a great soundtrack for that. Man, that was back in the good years of baseball with Griffey. I agree. There was a lot of sports games that back in the day were incredibly underrated. The old NBA Live series is another one to add to that. So that's actually really cool to see in here.
Wind Waker.
Yeah.
Wind Waker, like, I played that. I'm pretty sure I was technically still a child when I played that for the first time, and it's a mind-blowing game. I know we've talked about that before, but it's still crazy how good that game was.
I 100% can get behind that. So some of these, wow.
Link to the Past, bro. Link to the Past on the Game Boy.
Don Vito. Thank you, Dave. Final Fantasy 3 for SNES, and then Ocarina of Time. So I think Final Fantasy 3 for SNES, I could be wrong on this. Somebody's going to have to Google it and prove me wrong, because I'm sure I am. I believe that's called Mystic Quest. I believe we talked about that at one point on this show.
You were talking about,
yeah, I had this game for the longest time, had no idea it was even a Final Fantasy game.
Yeah.
And then now looking back on it, I'd do anything to play that again.
Man, Final Fantasy 9. I personally, I think Final Fantasy 9 is a better Final Fantasy than Final Fantasy 7 was.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed it more, but personal taste, No,
I agree. I actually enjoyed Final Fantasy 9 more, and I have nothing against 7.
No, I don't.
I haven't played the replay at all, or the remaster. Have you?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's probably because I played 9 before I played 7.
Same here.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a really good point. I absolutely did the same exact thing.
Yeah, and I think it's always the first Final Fantasy game that you play that sticks with you more than all the others.
Yeah.
Because I played 9 and then 7 and then 10 and then 11 and then 12. And at that point, I was like 9 all the way.
Yeah.
It's the longest, the most in-depth. God, that game was long.
Yeah, 9 is so under. There was, how many discs was that?
4.
Yeah, you're right. That was 4
discs.
You're right. Final Fantasy 9 was 4 discs on that.
Yeah.
That's just wild. Here, Pokemon Leaf Green. Well, so Leaf Green, I believe Leaf Green only actually came out in Japan.
I think you're right.
Or in the Asian market, because I don't think we got green here ever. I think we just had red and blue,
Yeah.
and then yellow. That was our Gen 1.
Yeah. I think Leaf Green was eventually released here, or maybe they just allowed people to buy it, and it was always in Japanese.
Yeah. Oh, see, you've got some fun. You've got a Final Fantasy 9 in here.
Yeah.
Dragon Warrior, man, haven't heard that one in a while. SmackDown vs. Raw 2009. Resident Evil 4. Yeah, see, this is really cool because, you know, a lot of people are going to look at this and immediately judge and say, okay, these games aren't actually that old. What we're looking at actually isn't that old, and they're going to take issue with it. They're going to be like, what do you mean from your childhood? This from your childhood?
Yeah.
You know, like I can't relate to seeing some of these things in there. So man, that just shows the
gap.
Yeah, the major gap here, but it's so cool. It's so awesome to see this.
Someone did say Skyrim on there, and I was like, Skyrim.
It's still coming out on every console. How Skyrim is not out on mobile yet is beyond me.
I'm glad it's not.
I'm glad it's not too. But
It'd be trash. Oh, I was gonna say one of the people blew my minds in here. They mentioned Shining Force, and it was actually a Russian guy from some like Slavic country that I'd never even heard of. But we had a good conversation about a Sega game that was made in the like early '90s called Shining Force. And it is an RPG. I'm going to butcher this, but it's like an RPG real-time strategy game. And it's like top-down where you have to like control your characters and level them up and build them and fight enemies. But you don't really get to like move around. It's just turn-by-turn kind of thing. And it was the first like strategy game like that I'd ever played. And it has stuck with me forever. It's so, like, I enjoyed it, but there's even a few people in here that mentioned Shining Force 2, which I didn't even know was a thing, and now I feel like as soon as I can manage to get myself a PC built, I got to go back and play that just so I can be like, okay, I played them both now, you know?
You're right. Scoot, he tosses up the GIF from Diablo 2. Did you ever do Diablo 2?
I did Diablo 3, not Diablo 2.
You haven't done Diablo 2 yet.
Done Diablo
you
2.
got to go do Diablo 2, man. Diablo 2 is
worth it.
The best in the series, in my opinion. I think they're remastering it, actually.
I heard that. Yeah, I keep hearing that it is the quintessential Diablo game. Like, Diablo 3 pissed off a lot of fans, and Diablo 1 was, like, not quite right, you know?
Yeah, man, Diablo 2 was the one where every time you played online, you were guaranteed to be with hackers. Yeah. I mean, the people that, like, they look at you and you die.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I remember it would end up being in these situations when you're online, people would be out, groups of people would team up on these hackers.
Yeah.
And then when you die, you drop all your equipment.
Oh, God.
So it was just a free-for-all of people trying to get all the hacked equipment because, you know, that obviously a lot of people didn't know how to use trainers or anything like that.
No.
So, but yeah, oh man, Diablo 2, that was such a good game.
That was a very manipulatable? Yeah. Game out there. Like, I remember back playing Skyrim, or not Skyrim, but RuneScape when I was a kid, because a few people mentioned RuneScape. And RuneScape, like, a lot of people grew up on World of Warcraft or Diablo or stuff like that, but I grew up playing RuneScape. Yeah. And that was, like, 2007. That was my shit, you know? Like, so many hours lost into that game.
RuneScape was a good one. What's that level from RuneScape that everybody always talks about?
Lumbridge?
I don't know. What's it, Lumbridge?
Lumbridge is just a town. Like, there's...
It's not RuneScape. It's not RuneScape. Sorry, I'm thinking of Rust.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking of Rust.
I never got around to playing Rust either, but I heard that was phenomenal.
Yeah, I never did either. But every time that we do one of these questions, people always bring it up.
Yeah.
So, sorry, I'm gonna start drinking. High noon. One of those things is true.
Cheers.
Yeah. God, every time I drink when I'm on air, I just spill shit all over me. My God.
It's high noon somewhere.
It's high noon somewhere. High noon, that's the dude from Overwatch. But this actually brings up an interesting question about remasters. Mm-hmm. So we're obviously starting to see that a lot of the games that we grew up with are now being completely remastered.
Yep.
And I think it's going to get to the point where essentially they all probably are going to be. But is there a limit? Are there games out there that are just too good to remaster because the first one was just that perfect already?
I don't know, man. If a game is good enough as it was when it first came out, it seems to be most studios just kind of polish up the graphics a little bit and maybe kind of tune or tweak some of the systems just a little bit. You know, they don't, like, a lot of these games don't really need any kind of major overhaul except for the graphics. And then they can just, resell it as slap some paint on it and resell it. And it's going to be sold because people are nostalgic and would like to play a game that looks better that's still nostalgic.
Right. Okay. So let me phase the question this way, and for everybody else as well. is there, just talking from your personal preference, is there a game that if they remastered it, you wouldn't buy it just because you have such fond memories of the first one? I know that's asking a lot real quick.
That is asking a lot. And I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything that I felt was so perfect as a kid that it couldn't use a little splash of paint, you know? Everything can be a little better with a little bit better graphics. I mean, like I was saying the other day, I don't even really care about graphics that much. I'm there for the gameplay and the story.
Yeah.
The graphics are down the line.
Yeah, I agree. The graphics are an absolute bonus for me too. But I mean, for me, I sit here and I'm going to say proudly that, you know, I would not play Ocarina of Time if they remastered it. I would not replay Majora's Mask if they remastered it, but I would.
Yeah.
I absolutely would.
Oh my God, Majora's Mask remastered would be insane.
Majora's Mask was... And okay, so let's look at it like this for a second, okay? Just sorry. No, it's not what you think it is. It's something much, much better. So Majora's Mask had the difficult task of following one of the greatest games ever made all time.
And they veered
literally
really far off course from it too.
Yes, they did. And I think they realized when they were looking at Majora's Mask, they're like, okay, we have to go completely away from this past element that we did. Yeah. And they did, but they still took a lot of the successful elements. They still took, in a sense, that time travel.
Yeah.
That time travel that they used. It's just, you know, it goes from 7 years in one game to 3 days in the other. Yeah. But man, you know, to be able to say, hey, we followed up Ocarina of Time with Majora's Mask, like that right there set such a precedent for the gaming industry.
Oh, it did.
And it raised the bar so high for developers, because how do you even begin to follow those two?
You really can't. I mean,
they did successfully.
After those, what did we get? It was Wind Waker. Like,
Wind Waker and the Twilight Princess. I think they had some of the, I never got into the Game Boy games, but I think they had some of the Game Boy games in there.
There was a bunch along the lines. Yeah. There was the Minish Cap and Link's Awakening and Four Swords, the 4-player co-op one.
Yep.
They were trying to like push the envelope with the Game Boy versions of the game, but every single time they dropped another actual like main console game, it was better than the last in some aspects. Like Ocarina of Time is arguably one of the best games of all time for everything it did at the time. And then Majora's Mask, I consider Majora's Mask to be the Dark Souls of Nintendo.
Oh, really?
Like, it was, for me as a kid, that game was nearly impossible.
Frustrated.
I had no internet to rely on. I had no way to look things up and be like, help, how do I get through this? So I just had to like fight and figure out how to just piece things together. And getting hit by that moon for the 10th time in a row, just because you don't know what you're doing and you can't get that far through the game, you're just like, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah.
I remember giving up on it for like a year, and I had to come back after someone.
That frustrating, yeah.
Yeah. Someone was like, hey, you should play Majora's Mask. I know you've got it. Let me just show you what to do in some places. And I got some help, and I played it, and I loved it once I figured it out.
Right.
Like the Zorro mask. You remember that?
The Zoran mask.
Zoran mask.
Yeah, or Zoran. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. They are because you had Princess Zora from Ocarina of Time, and then her dad was the big the big fish that you had to squeak by, made those little squeaky noises. It took him like 45 minutes just to scoot across the screen. You're like, come on, dude, just fall off already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know who you're talking about, the Zora mask, and it actually allows you to like take their powers, if I remember correctly.
Take their powers. Yeah. Every mask you got in the game lets you do whatever the race or whatever or species, you could copy their abilities. So you could swim really, really well with the Zora mask on, and with what was the rock people?
The Gorons. Yeah.
You could like pick up huge rocks and do stuff with that. There was just...
What an underrated game. Now that we're literally sitting here talking about it, how incredibly... And it's not... I don't even know if we can consider it underrated because of everything that it accomplished. And I don't know too many people that don't love it.
I think the people that love it are the people that actually were good enough to get through it. The people, like, it wasn't as, lauded as all the other games. It wasn't as praised because I feel like it wasn't as accepting and easy to get into. Because Ocarina of Time, it's hard at aspects. Like, parts are really difficult in that game. Like, some of the bosses drove me crazy.
What do you think of the Water Temple?
Oh, it's hell. It's absolute hell.
The first couple times I did it, it was absolute hell. Once you figure it out and once you know the pattern, it becomes easy. But I think that can be said for any game. But I think, you know, we see memes about the water temple all the time and how all water temples just completely suck ass.
Just about all of them, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's a fair argument that people remember, because you can remember back to that first or second time actually trying to go through the water temple and being frustrated.
Oh, yeah.
And you're right, if you didn't have that walkthrough, and when we were growing up, when you didn't have that physical walkthrough, those big ass books that you can pull up.
But I don't.
Oh, yeah. And you can just do 100% of the walkthrough going through that. Now, we're getting so off course here, but that's okay. We're going to come back to the question. These walkthroughs, do you feel like those took away from games?
In a way, they did. It didn't because the games were built in such a way that you kind of needed a walkthrough to get through it. You know what I mean? Now, games aren't built in that way because we have the internet. There's no point in trying to sell an extra book when there's the internet, because no one's going to buy the book.
No, why would they when they can just go on GameFAQs or what,
YouTube it?
Game Winners. Man, Game Winners. I don't wonder if that site's even still in existence.
Probably not.
Probably not. God, a lot of those, man. Man, those were the days. Those were back in the cheat code days. Back on those cheat code days actually went a lot longer. They're actually still in some games.
A lot of them, yeah. There's a few, but a lot of the games that do that are indie games, I've noticed.
Yeah.
Like not big AAA games. Like there's no cheat codes for like Anthem or whatever. Oh man, I saw someone say Legend of Zelda: The Skyward Sword, which is the only Legend of Zelda game that I haven't played.
Skyward Sword?
Skyward Sword.
Yeah, I played it for a little bit. You're right, I never beat it. I think that's literally the only one I think I haven't beaten. Well, I haven't even played Breath of the Wild yet. I'm an idiot. I deserve the look. I deserve the look because I am a huge Zelda fan, but I do not have a Switch.
That game changed it for me, man.
What do you mean? Okay, so how does this stack up against the other Zelda games? Because you've played them all now.
Yeah.
You know that looking back on Ocarina of Time, we've already talked about that in past episodes. Majora's Mask, what we just talked about.
Yeah.
We already know how that lives up and how much that alone changed a game as a follow-up to Ocarina of Time. So where does Breath of Wild stand for you in this? What did it change, like your perspective wise on gaming?
It honestly wasn't a perspective change as much as it was a breath of fresh air. That game was so clean, no bullshit, just a fun experience. It wasn't hard though. There wasn't that much challenge to it. That was the only issue that I had, was it was not like, it's a relaxing game. You could make it more challenging now, because I played it when it first came out, and there was no like new game plus option. There was no master mode. There wasn't any of the like challenges or anything like that. It was just the game, and the object of the game is for you to go defeat the 4 like big Titan enemies, and then go beat Ganon.
Okay, so break down without spoiling it, because I'm gonna play it eventually. I really want to, but for other people who haven't either. What is just an overview of the plot of this game? Like, when does it take? I don't even know the timeline of these Zelda games.
It's like 100 years in the future, essentially, from Twilight Princess.
See, I don't even know where Twilight Princess stands.
It's all over the place. The actual like chronological storyline is all over the place. They've
actually, God, I'm gonna be completely wrong about this, but I think they've actually like chalked even some of it up to like the multiverse, like Hyrule.
Some of them.
I don't know for a fact though, but I think I remember reading that.
Yeah, no, that's pretty accurate if I remember correctly. But essentially, it's 100 years in the future. Ganon won.
Oh, he won.
He won.
So this is post Ganon,
right?
So do they actually? And this is something that I'd love to see if there's some lore on this. Do they actually talk at all about maybe like in a Hyrule, like the actual wars, like the battles that took place with Ganon's army, or if he even had an army, or how he came?
There was some flashbacks to it, but the way I understand it is there's always Link, there's always Zelda, and there's always Ganon.
Yeah.
Every 100 years or so, they come together, they fight it out, and then based on whoever wins the next 100 years is going to be good or bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
So if Link wins, if Link and Zelda win, it's balanced, everything's okay. But Ganon's coming back again. Link's going to die, Link is going to be reborn. Ganon dies, Ganon's going to be reborn. It happens in like a cyclical fashion. and it's like an eternal battle between good and evil.
So it's biblical, almost.
Essentially.
All right.
But it's the Triforce, you know? There's power, wisdom, and what's the third one?
GamerGirl Condoms.
GamerGirl Condoms.
That's the third one. That's the one in the Triforce. There we go. I just don't know what the third one is. I know you're right on the first
Courage.
two. Courage. Yes, courage. You are absolutely right. It is courage. Yeah. Okay. I like that a little bit. I kind of like that. Listen, the MCU, what Marvel has done is kind of changed everything and what we expect from franchises and series is now. And that's 100% not fair to even bring in to gaming, just because I imagine that would be insanely difficult to do.
Yeah.
However, I'd like to see it done. But I think it'd be really cool if
Come on, bro, The Last of Us 2.
The Last of Us 2. How many of these on here? And that's actually another question.
Hardly any people mentioned any of those games.
The Last of Us. So, okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's not really a childhood thing. That was like 4 years ago.
Well, 2013, man. We're getting some of them on there.
Was it 2013?
Yeah. Last of Us was 2013.
Whoa, it was.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, my God. I didn't. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
so, well, no, but I still see a lot of stuff on that all the time where people, all these questions, listen, literally, and one of these questions over here, hold on, let me pull it up here so everyone can see, and that's not going to do any good. Okay, I did. I asked a game that you love, but most people seem to hate. I said, we will have opinions on your opinions on the podcast, which, by the way, apparently I didn't know was something that we needed to make sure that we said after the last podcast, that we are going to share our opinions on your opinions.
Yes.
So let me be very clear to everyone watching. These are all opinions, even ours. You're not right. You're not wrong. We're definitely not right. So, I mean, like, it's just, we had somebody, and this actually cracked me up. Our first YouTube hate comment ever. It was fantastic, which, by the way, you can find clips from all these shows on YouTube. And the person actually said, I watched this for 25 minutes, and I can honestly say it was a waste of my time. It's like, dude, you just watched the whole freaking episode.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah, you just watched the entire episode, and you're going to say it's a waste of your time. Cool. By all means, don't watch again. That 25 minutes.
Why are you mad though?
I don't know. But literally, what we were talking about right here, The Last of Us 2. This I'm actually going to read what this person is. It's at Fit for a Hatter. And one of these actually on here got pretty heated. I'm not going to pull them up. The Last of Us 2, the game was incredibly divisive, but it has positively the best animation and graphics I've ever seen in a game. The voice acting is phenomenal. The writing is fantastic at will. It made very bold choices that they had to know would divide people's opinion. And then he's going into spoilers, and I just had that up for the entire time. Oh. So you know what? If you're watching it at this point, sorry, you should probably know.
I mean, we're not exactly the most spoiler friendly podcast in the world because we kind of go fast and loose with the spoilers. So we should probably just put a disclaimer at the front that says we're going to be talking about everything. So sorry if you've never played this before.
Yeah, I'm literally just going to put a giant disclaimer actually on the top that says, hey, we're probably going to talk about spoilers because we're idiots doing a podcast.
Yep, that's why we're here. Someone mentioned Oblivion, and I got to say, yes, Oblivion is amazing. Phenomenal game. Honestly want to go back and replay it. If they remastered Oblivion, I would buy it.
Have they not remastered Oblivion yet?
No, they're not. I mean, they haven't remastered Morrowind. They wouldn't remaster Oblivion before they do that.
I don't know why I thought they did.
Bethesda's kind of given it over to the modding community a little bit. I don't know if you remember reading about that, but there was something called Sky Oblivion, where a group of modders got together and kind of spliced Oblivion and Skyrim into one game.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know who this person is. I'm looking at him right. You can't see on the screen. Mm-hmm. It's at M-XVI. Zombies Ate My Neighbors, Super Mario World, Doom, Yoshi's Island, Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil. His list of games that he's listing off right here is literally my childhood.
Yeah, you're probably the same age.
Yeah, Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I'm not going to say I'd kill for a remake, but I'd certainly love to see one. That was such an underrated game. I can't believe more people.
That game a couple weeks ago?
Yes, I probably mentioned it every single podcast because I don't have a life, and it was one of the only games I played as a kid. Oh my God, that game was so good.
So very good.
And it was so clean for its time. The music, everything about it, just it brings chills when I think about it. It's one of those games.
Yeah. There's a few of those games. Every time I hear the load-in sequence for that game that I was telling you about called Skies of Arcadia, like, every time I hear the music from that, my whole body's just, like, tingly. And I'm like, why does this give me tingles?
Oh, man.
Oh, my God. Someone mentioned... Oh, shit, where did it go? Oh, man. Star Wars Battlefront. like the OG Star Wars Battlefront. That was a great
Man,
game.
oh, that was for the original.
PlayStation.
Yeah, that was for the. I thought that came out on Xbox too.
It did.
The original Xbox. Yeah, that was clutch. That's what kind of. It wasn't the game that actually kicked off the whole. Hey, we're gonna do this whole gaming universe with Star Wars thing. I think there were a couple other games. I think there was a TIE Fighter game for the Nintendo 64.
The TIE Fighter 64
and
game
they're doing one. They're doing one very similar
Squadrons.
to that, Squadrons, which you actually said you were excited for.
I'm excited for
Okay.
it. 4-player, 4-man squadron game mode that you can play with your boys. Each of the fighters are like super customizable, so you can pick roles as players. Like there's some ships that will like repair other ships. There are ships that are best for like fighter versus fighter kind of combat. Some are better for taking down like bombing runs and stuff like that. But you remember in Battlefront 2, something they didn't bring back in the most recent Battlefronts was I don't remember what it was called. It was like Conquest mode or something like that, where it was 2 capital ships fighting each other. And the objective was to board the ship and blow up the shield generator. So if you got the shield generator destroyed on the inside, then your like bombers on the outside could attack the control centers and everything, and the life support function and everything the ship has. The whole point was one ship or one side destroys the other's capital ship. And they're bringing back a mode like that, but you can't go inside the ship. There's no first-person aspect to it. There's no like running around on the inside of the ship like you could in Battlefront, but you can still it's ship versus ship combat. And I think it's like 10 squads of 4 or something like that. So it's a pretty big fight.
Did you ever play Golden Axe?
Golden Axe?
Yeah. Somebody mentioned Golden Axe.
Yes, that was another side-scrolling one, wasn't it?
I don't know. I've seen it everywhere. We see Golden Axe everywhere. I think it was actually at one point maybe even like an arcade game.
I think it is an arcade
game.
I think it was a Sega arcade game, and I think I played it on the same Sega multi-disc that Shining Force game that I was telling you about was on.
Yeah, Secret of Mana. Here's another one that people have mentioned. I remember Secret of Mana.
Phantasy Star.
Yeah. See, these are so good, man. It just gives me so much nostalgia to actually go back and look through some of these.
Super Mario Sunshine. I don't know if you ever played that.
Yeah,
that was a
Super Mario Sunshine.
Wacky game, but I loved it. It was so much
Super
fun.
Mario Sunshine was the shit, man. I used to a lot of the game that was GameCube, I believe, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Super Mario that was GameCube. Super Mario Sunshine was GameCube, and then also Super Mario Galaxy, the first one, I believe, was GameCube. I could be very, very wrong on that.
I think you're right. I don't know.
I don't either, man.
It might have been N64.
Oh, Simpsons Hit and Run. Absolutely.
Such a banger.
Absolutely. Simpsons Hit and Run. The Grand Theft Auto for kids.
It is amazing how many of these people, like out of the 200 responses or so, I probably agree with like 190 of them, you know?
Yeah.
Shadow of the Colossus, we owe it to ourselves to mention that. That was game changing.
Aren't they remaking that too?
It's already been remade.
Oh, okay. So I missed it. So it's already been remade. All right. I know. See, a lot of these games have already been remade. Age of Empires 2, that's literally been remastered. I literally played it last night. Yeah, I mean, these are so good. Terraria, WWF No Mercy. God, I remember those old WWF wrestling games. Those were so much fun, man. Yeah, NFL Blitz. Yeah, see, all these are just, man, they just bring back so much nostalgia just sitting here and just looking at this. And it just makes me think about how spoiled, when we look at the big picture of the industry where it is right now and our place in it, just how really spoiled we are.
Oh, we're so spoiled.
Oh my gosh, man. We are just insanely, just completely spoiled by
we as a culture are like the phrase spoiled rotten is so fitting for us now.
Yes, the fact that there are video games that come out right now with the graphics that they have right now and the gameplay that they have right now, it's amazing. The worst game that came out, that would come out today, like that when we look back on at the end of 2020, when we look back, the worst game that comes out this year would have been the best game ever, like 10 years ago.
Oh yeah. Shout out to Game Ranks on YouTube. They actually do once a year a worst games of whatever year it was, and I always watch it. They do a best of 2020 and a worst of 2020, and it's just like the Metacritic worst rated games of the year, and they just like show gameplay and show why it's bad.
Right.
And it's just like, it's always fun to see games that I would have never heard of just because they're that bad, you know? There's been a few over the years that I've watched, because I've probably watched that every year for the past like 7 years or 6 years or something like that.
Right.
But every year there's always like 5 or 6 games that I'm like, huh? What?
Why is this happening?
What game is this?
Was this necessary?
This is a game?
Yeah.
This was made by people? Like, what?
Yeah.
Some of those games on that list, I swear, are made by like AI or something. Just like pretending to make a game.
Man, we're not too far away from that. Okay, so let's end the episode on this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this right now. I think we kind of know where we stand on 2020 as far as all the games that have come out and all the games that are going to come out.
Yeah.
Now, when I speak of the Game of the Year category, it should be noted that goes from October to October. So Cyberpunk 2077 will not be included in the 2020 Game of the Year discussion. So let me ask you this, because I don't know if the answer is obvious. I feel like it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be a divisive one, and you already know where I'm going with what I think is going to be Game of the Year. Do you agree? Last of Us Part 2. Is there any game that's coming out or has been out that has a shot at defeating it?
Man, as far as all the boxes that the criteria that are used to determine what is Game of the Year material, The Last of Us 2 checks most of them.
Yeah.
So I think it's very, very possible. I mean, COD's never done that. It's always been like single player games that end up being Game of the Year. I think Overwatch was Game of the Year one year.
Yep. 2016 game. First of all, there's multiple Game of the Year awards.
Yeah.
Obviously, but I know for a fact that the main one, the actual game awards like show that they do,
right,
was Overwatch. You're correct.
Yeah. So I think you're probably right. We may be pleasantly surprised, and that may not be right at all, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be...
but 2021, it is Cyberpunk 2077.
It has to be.
Big bet.
Has to be. Is anyone going to bet against that?
No.
Like, what are the odds on that? Actually, you know what?
Bro, what if we hype this game up this much, and then we all end up hating it? Like, I don't think that CD Projekt Red is going to screw us over like that, but half of me expects in the next 3 or 4 weeks to see another tweet from CD Projekt Red that says, all right, release date pushed to February 22nd, 2021 or something.
I don't
like
even
that.
care at this point. Do you? Like,
no.
Honestly,
if they need more time to fix it, if they need more time to make it perfect, I don't care.
Yeah.
Make it fall 2021.
Yeah, listen, this is one of the only studios that can pull this off. This CD Projekt Red and Rockstar are the only two studios that can pull off delaying a game as long as they want without, a massive just like uproar, which is stupid, by the way. We should let these developers do what they have to do. So you know that you're going to get a good product. You're going to be getting your money's worth, which I think with Cyberpunk, I don't think there's ever been any doubt that you're going to get your money's worth with Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
So delay it as long as you want, by all means. And by the way, I just looked up literally the Cyberpunk 2077 Game of the Year odds, and it's too early because it'd be for 2021. But yeah, there's nothing on it.
Yeah.
Because who would take that bet? What are you going to win, like a penny?
Yeah. No.
You're gonna win a penny for every dollar that you bet? No,
Nope.
Forget that.
No,
it's definitely gonna take it. I can't think of. Well,
who knows? There might be some cool shit that comes out.
You know what, man? I'm just thinking ahead.
We got a brand new console generation barreling down on us.
That was my first thought, and
Man,
we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen it yet, but I think we're gonna be seeing it next week, the 23rd, Halo Infinite.
Yep. I think we're seeing Halo Infinite.
That's gonna be big, man.
We're getting even more information on everything the Xbox One or the Xbox One X is going to be, or Xbox Series X is going to be capable of.
Yeah,
that's gonna take some getting used to. And what's the point in going back and remastering all your games if you have a console that can actually brush up the graphics of whatever game you put in it?
Ooh. I'm a little hard right now.
Oh, yeah.
May have to get one of those GamerGirl condoms. Here we go. All right. We're going to close out the show on that, obviously.
All right.
GamerGirl condoms. That's the best way. We're going to do this again next week.
Absolutely.
Mr. Everett. What are you playing, by the way? You said, what was the name of that game?
Nier Automata.
Nier Automata.
Yep. You should look it up.
I'm going to look it up. All right. We'll be back next week. See y'all.